Welcome to another episode of Chattin With Staxx. I'm your host, Bill-Staxx, and today I got Bobby Luisi. What's up, man?
How you doing, Bo?
How you doing,
What's
man?
up, brother?
Yeah, you know I had to come out here to Boston to talk to you, and we can do an interview like this. So yeah, a lot of people heard your story. I want to thank you for having me up here and
You don't have to thank us.
show me
It was
the
a pleasure having you,
hospitality.
man.
Yeah, I've been having a fun time, man, and I really appreciate you guys. So I wanted to ask you, what's the reason why you started getting involved with that life? Was it because your family was in like, was it because of where you grew up, or was it regional, or was it like?
All right, I grew up in the North End of East Boston.
Yeah.
Heavy influence organized crime there. Mafia guys. You know, my father was with those guys from a young age.
Yeah.
And I started coming around them. Going to visit my father. My stepfather, was a street guy. Did a lot of different things. It was just something I just seen my whole life, with the bookmaking, the loan shark, and sadly enough, some murders. Not that I saw myself, but things that were going on in the neighborhood. And it was just a common thing to see these wise guys.
Yeah.
And like I said before, growing up in a neighborhood like that, what were we going to be? Construction workers, firemen, cops, gangsters. Yeah. It was one of the categories,
And who got the most money, right?
The gangsters had everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, growing up, like I said before, I started working for the Angiulo family for Ronnie Rome and Ronnie Romanowski for Rome Pending.
How old were you?
About 11, probably.
11? You
11,
were
12. Yeah, I used to go after school. And he had like a small factory. We kept everything on Arlene Street.
Mm-hmm.
That was his base in East Boston. And then every Saturday, I'd go roll the dime machines with him. So that went on for a year or two. And after that, I went and worked in another gangster's sub shop, making pizzas and everything. And I always worked after school.
Yeah.
I started to do it. I liked it. I had money. I had clothes. When I was working for Ronnie, I was making $50 a week.
And that was a lot of money.
11 years old in the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a lot of money.
So it didn't matter that you were a little kid, though? It didn't.
No, I was Bobby Luisi's son, so I was treated very well.
Yeah.
And got all the respect because of my father.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was good to me. And, and then, gradually getting older and like 13, 14, I used to go up to Combat Zone. The wise guys had a strip joint up there. My father used to run it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was around them. I used to see all the wise guys up there. Small joint, everybody's dressed up in suits every day. Sharp guys at the time, And then I got a little old. I moved to the North End when I was 16 in my father's building. And I was around those guys every day. But my family, they were all construction workers.
Yeah.
All builder's license, everybody. So I got my builder's license. I started doing that. And I love construction. I went into construction, and I want to be in that life like my father and these other guys. From the little things that I saw, it wasn't for me. So I started, was buying buildings right away. I think I bought my first 3-family, was 21. A few years later, I had 2 more with some partners. And I just did a big condo unit in East Boston on Whippy Street. And someone approached me over going to Martha's Vineyard to build some houses down there. And my lawyer, who was one of my partners, one of the other guys with him, I guess the mother or son had 11 lots down there. So I was gearing myself up to go.
Yeah.
And I went to the vineyard. I loved it. I got rid of all the properties in East Boston and went and moved down there. And then the market crashed.
Oh, man.
So I came back up in 1990, lost everything, and put a gun on and then went out the street.
So when you came back, did you aspire to be the best gangster you could be, basically?
No, you just live that life. You do what you could do. See, the lucky thing with me was the business experience I had.
Yeah.
When I came home, I applied that to the street.
Yeah.
It was business to me. And that's why in a few short years, I became a millionaire again.
Yeah. So, but when you were in the construction industry before you got involved with that life like that, right? Were you were you doing paying kickbacks
No,
to get jobs and things like that?
no,
Or was
nothing
it-
like that. It
No.
was all residential. We were just
Yeah.
buying lots, specking on them, building
Oh yeah,
houses,
yeah. So it wasn't
or
like
buying buildings, whatever we were doing at the time.
yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
like you're paying to get the top quote
No,
and all
no,
this.
no.
And,
I was a Louisiana. It was paid for nothing.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
So then, how long did it take you? What was law enforcement on you because of your family background, or?
Well, I noticed right away because I started when I got back home. I started moving in on the drug dealers, selling a little drug myself, cocaine. And they came in our barroom when we owned the barroom on Richmond Street. And they came in one night, and all the cops pointed me out. There was a problem in there, you know.
Yeah.
And long story short, in the neighborhood, they started watching me a little bit. They knew what we were up to. And then as I started expanding, I was getting more and more heat on me, you know. And they started to realize that I was growing in the position that I was putting myself in.
How many people did you have around you at this time?
At what point? Because I kept growing.
At the time that you that you came back from building houses on the vineyard, and you came back. How big was your crew when you first started putting?
No, it was only a few
guys?
of us when we got started. My partner was Vinny Perez. We were doing the drugs together, and we opened up a card club in East Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I had a big card game in East Boston. A few other guys did too. And that was lucrative for a little while. The real big money was in the drugs. So what I started doing was pushing out, going into neighborhoods, grabbing crews, and I started slowly building.
Who were the other big crews that were out in Boston at the time?
Well, the Patriarchas were there.
Yeah.
You know, there was a few Irish crews out there. You know.
Did you have a lot of dealings with any of them? Like, did you have problems with them on the streets?
No, not at the beginning. Originally, I got proposed in the Patriarcha family. Then I had a falling out with one of the couples.
Before they could follow through. Before you could get made into the Patriarchas, you had a falling out.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to get made in the Patriarcha family, so I moved on. I went to New York and Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And Joey Molino picked me up. By the time Joey, I went down to meet Joey, I was already a boss. I had a big crew with me, big crew of guys. I don't know, with associates, with the Irish guys, with the guys at Connecticut, Maine, there might have been about 100 of us.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
People that were dealing on there, maybe more, because associates have associates.
So Bobby, was Joey was the boss down there?
Joey's the boss of Philly.
Yeah. When did he become the boss down there in Philly?
When he got out of prison, Stanford went away. Joey took the reins. Ralph Natali came home, and Joey made Ralph, and Joey put Ralph up front.
So did you ever have dealings with Ralph?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can you explain any situations like
Ralph? I don't want to get into that. Ralph was a nice guy. I used to go to the pub in Cherry Hill, in New Jersey, to meet him all the time.
Yeah.
On the track. I really liked Ralph.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ralph got pinched before I got made. He was already away. You know, and Joey took the reins over again.
How was Joey as a person?
Oh, I love Joey.
Yeah, he's
good
a good guy.
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah, he seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, he is. He's everything he seems to be. He is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So were they expecting you when you went down to Philly? Were they expecting you to put in a piece of work before you could get made, or did they know your character?
They already knew my character and my history, and that I'm not going to get into.
Yeah.
If you understand.
Yeah, I get it. So after you got made down in Philly.
Yeah.
What was it, a feeling that you had? Did you feel different?
I can't say I did. You know, I was happy that I achieved what I wanted to. I was happy knowing my crew was going to get straight out. But it didn't make me feel like any different kind of a man.
Yeah.
It's not like when the Holy Spirit comes over you.
Yeah.
That's a feeling.
Yeah.
No, nothing like that.
No.
You know.
But so people treated you different. Like when you walked in a restaurant and they knew that you were with these guys, they treat you different when you walked in there? No.
No. Like I told you, I was already a boss up in Boston before I got made. I just wanted to legitimize us, and to do that on the street, you got to become a made guy.
Yeah.
And straighten out my crew.
So after you get made down in Philly, how long after you get up to Boston do you start straightening out some of your guys?
It was about 6 months. Proposed everybody, straighten them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a process. It was a process with me too.
So do you?
They didn't just come and straighten me out. Oh, we like this guy, give him a button.
Yeah.
It didn't work like that.
Yeah.
You know, they have to investigate. They got to do what they got to do. Just like I did with my own guys, and I understood that.
Yeah.
And when the time was right, they took me in.
So did you have any people that you were going to straighten out, but you found out some information about them? You decided not to work with them?
Not really. It's just there was one guy in particular that refused it, and I understood his reasoning why. Very close friend.
Yeah.
You know, he would have really raised high with me if I left him on the street.
Yeah.
You know, but in the midst of all that, I ended up having a spiritual encounter, and my whole view of the world changed and my lifestyle.
So after you got made, was there any times that you were like, damn, what did I do? Now I'm stuck in this situation?
No, I was stuck in the situation anyway, if I was made or not. I had enemies in Boston.
Yeah.
You know, you don't climb a ladder like that and not have, enemies.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of enemies in Boston, and nothing changed in that way.
Is there any situations where you had dealings with your enemies coming at you, or they were plotting or anything like that you could tell me about?
All through the 90s.
Yeah.
But I really don't, there were several attempts on my life.
Yeah.
Caught them. It was. Only by the grace of God am I saying that today.
Me too, man. Some of the things I've been involved in, yeah, by the skin of my teeth, man.
I understand.
For real. Yeah. So, how did the law enforcement presence really start picking up when you were starting to get deeper in it?
Well, I think the presence was there. They knew what we were doing. But after my father got killed in a 99 restaurant and my family, I heard that they sent 100 agents up because they thought the war was really going to escalate at that time. Because from the early 90s, we were in a war. I came up in a war. I didn't come up easy like these other guys,
Yeah.
And so they really thought it was going to escalate. And at that time, I was on the radar really, really heavily. It was at a friend's mother died. I was at the wake at Charlestown. And they had the whole funeral parlor was all on videotape and bug.
Yeah.
So when I came in, they sat me in the back, and everybody was coming again, introduced to me and everything. Then they realized at that point how serious I was with these guys and in the community.
Yeah.
And that's when I got all the heat.
Yeah, and they were
really, really bad.
Weren't stopping, right?
No, because they've never seen that, like on, they've seen it with other gangsters getting the respect, but they never knew I got the respect the way that I got.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it, man.
Yeah.
So after so now that you're straightened out and the police presence is getting heavy, how much longer after that did you get picked up?
Well, I didn't get picked up till 99.
So that's a long stretch.
Well, I had the 90s. I got almost 10 years out of it. For being the position I was in, it's pretty good. I wish I was one of those guys that died in bed. Lived their whole life, didn't go to prison and died in bed, but that didn't happen for me.
I mean,
so I got picked up in 99. We were really strong at the time that I got picked up. But when I got picked up, everything started to fall apart.
Yeah.
Up in Boston for our crew. Because they got 4 of us. They took me, they got Sean Viteri, and that really hurt the crew.
Yeah, with
picking us 2 up.
So after they pick you up, does somebody jump in and take your place? and control things on the street, or
No, one of my cousins, whatever happened to me was an act of capo.
Yeah.
If I left the city, whatever, if I got arrested. So there was we were in place there. But unfortunately, two of my cousins got picked up for a murder charge.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that took another two guys out.
Yeah.
So the crew just kept crumbling and getting weaker.
Yeah.
You know.
So then you were facing life, right?
When they first picked me up on the drug charges with Philadelphia, I was facing 10 to 12. I probably would have got the 10 years if I made the deal. But I found out when I was in there that I was getting superseded with a murder indictment. They knew about a few murders, but they had me cold on one. This is what I understood.
Yeah.
You know, the one they were coming at me with at that time, they probably would have came after me with the rest of them too. But at that time, and I found out that very close people around me were ratting on me. And, you know, when I talked to the lawyer, and Marty Bedroll was at AUSA in Boston, in that courthouse, and federal prosecutor. And he ended up retiring and going into my lawyer's law firm. And that's how I got all of this information.
Oh,
He said, Bobby, they're up there, they're laughing right now. They got you. You're gone. He says, your close friends, they're all ratting on you. You don't have a chance.
Oh, so you were done.
I was done. Lights off.
Yeah.
So he asked me, do you want to go talk to him? I said, no, don't even bring that up again. But I went in my cell a few weeks. My stomach was turning, you know. And I said, they're going to go home. And I'm going to do the rest of my life.
Yeah.
They're going to go home on me. This ain't going to happen.
So were these were guys that were under you that were turning?
No, these were guys that were partners, guys I did things with.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what they did.
So, I mean, only the strong survive, right? And you're here talking to me. So, I mean.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to let them go home, and I was going to, you know, do the rest of my life.
Yeah.
To be macho or a man's man or whatever bullshit these people say.
Yeah.
You know?
You should have did this.
I got a family.
You should have did that.
I got 3 kids.
Yeah.
I wanted to see my family again.
Yeah.
They're going to rat on me and be with their kids? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to cooperate. It's another thing for, I tell people this, but it's another thing to cooperate and say, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. That wasn't me. Like, come on, own up to what you do. If that's what you got to do, you know. I mean, I've never been put in that position, but
well, it was either that, do the rest of my life in prison.
Yeah.
And I'm out on the street. So who won? I guess I did, right?
Yeah.
I did my, you know, I'm a murderer. I admit it. I did 14 years in prison.
Yeah.
Straight. You know.
So was that
I did my time.
Was that part of your deal? The 14 years?
No, I never really made a deal. Negotiations broke down. I never really became a cooperator.
Yeah. So what?
They ripped my agreement up. I went to trial twice. Everybody could look on gov.com, whatever it is.
Yeah. I
went to trial twice. The first time I went, I won my appeal. It was the first case, Luisi, whatever, United States versus Luisi, that overturned the drug case in Boston.
Yeah.
It was the first one that did it.
And you got caught, they caught you with, what, cocaine?
Yeah. Selling 3, conspiring to sell another 4, whatever it was. Yeah. 7 kilos. And so now I win my appeal, and I had lost all my good time from fighting and everything. All my good time back. I go.
They gave you all the good time back?
Yeah, well, once you win an appeal, that case is gone. All that, that's all gone. All that stuff is gone, even in the back of prison.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
All my good time back. Went to trial, lost again. But I think it was 2005 or 6, they changed the guidelines. And I ended up falling through the cracks. And when I think it was 2007 or 8, I got resentenced. They took 47 months off. So I went from 235 months to 15 years, 8 months. So they had to drop that 47 months on me for leadership.
So right after you